Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 30, another 10 under the belt, in the pants. I don't know where this is going, but 30. Wow.
It's so old now. Ugh.
Yeah, you hit your 30s. This is where your body starts to ache for no reason, and just like things are a little more miserable now. Welcome.
You look at the clock, it's 8 o'clock, you're like, how am I still awake?
I want to go to bed, but it's too early. But what is too late? I don't know anymore. Anyways, your hosts who are obviously getting over the hill are Kris and
Savannah, and she resents that.
Yeah, but time's not going to slow down for you anytime soon. Me neither.
It's true, but it hurts.
It sure does. But you know, it doesn't hurt doing a podcast, music commentary. I mean, it can hurt depending on how you feel about certain albums, but that's what we do here on Rate the Record. So thank you very much for hanging out with us today and, checking out this album, and hopefully you get something out of it. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy the episode. So make sure you hit like, subscribe, comment, share, follow, rate, all those fun things that help build that musical community that you know we're trying to build right now. Brick, I say it every week. Brick, house, wall, martyr, whatever. I did a lot of editing on last week's episode, so I just remember Savannah saying martyr a lot.
Yeah. And when you said brick house, I just jamming to it in my head.
Well, there you go. This week, episode 30, usually for the last 10 type episodes, like episode 10 and episode 20, like every 10, we've done the randomizer, but thanks to the numerous listener requests that we've been getting, we don't have to do that this time around, so thank you very much, because today is indeed a listener requested episode. Scott, that's the name he wants to go by, as according to the form that you can fill out down in the description below if you want to request an album. Scott wants us to take a look at TV on the Radio and Return to Cookie Mountain, their second album. I like the name already.
Sounds like a Cookie Monster album, but it was not.
If he actually eats the CD, I'd be sad. Well, if you've been to this podcast before, like Scott maybe, for example, hello, welcome back to the podcast. We're always glad to have you here. Just knowing that you'll come back, hang out with us, and let us know what you think of the album's always fantastic. Thank you very much. But if you're new here, welcome to the podcast. Yes, we do albums that are listener requested, so you could be one of those people. Again, link down in the description below if you want to request. But yes, welcome to the podcast. Enjoy your stay. We're glad that you're here. That means you likely don't know what we do here on the podcast. So each week, Savannah and I will choose an album, be it completely at random. Maybe it's celebrating some sort of anniversary of some sort, or listener requested, as I've already said like 20 times so far going into this episode. Regardless, we will choose an album. We discuss the songs at length. We rank the songs, and then we rate the record.
I've been trying to learn how to whistle with my fingers, like a dog whistle. Just imagine that, because I haven't perfected it yet. It still kind of sounds like... So
well, can't you just like regular whistle with your lips?
That does not have the same ring to it.
Not only that, but Zoom went ahead and broke up that audio a lot. So you just hear, and then just cuts out.
Excellent. It's as bad as me trying to dog whistle. But just imagine that happening, in the distance. And woo!
Well, dog whistling aside, we do have an album to talk about today, but before we get to that, there is a disclaimer that we'd like to read at the beginning of each show, just to make sure that, we're on top of everything. We're not going to be mean to each other, even if we have our disagreements. We're cool, having discussion about musical commentary, the basis of the podcast, and it is as follows.
The following thoughts and opinions we're going to discuss and rate the record regarding this album are strictly of our own personal interests. We are not professional music reviewers. We're simply two friends having fun, discussing, and listening to music. We encourage respectful discussion and friendly banter of each episode, but we do not condone and will not... Sorry, I am laughing because I am doing so well.
Excellent.
And will not tolerate bullying or belligerence based on the opinions of ourselves or others. This podcast is a casual and for fun project, and you are welcome to take what we say regarding the albums we rate with a grain of salt. I'm still trying to be the kids' toy commercial disclaimer, but I got caught up in it halfway through.
Don't push yourself too hard, because those are mainly pre-recorded and sped up anyways. So I mean,
Oh, I am going to reach those unrealistic expectations.
You have to be more of the auctioneer who literally does that, like, super fast mumbling in person. Sold.
You're the man in green.
Yeah, that's when you slow down a little bit. Sold for $250,000. So that's when the blocks are a big old card. Okay, anyways.
That is terrifying.
It is, and kind of annoying, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Scott wants us to take a look at TV on the radio. Well, guess what, Scott? You're in luck. We're doing it today here for episode 30. You already know who TV on the radio is, but for the rest of you who don't, let me fill you in a little bit. TV on the Radio is an indie rock / post-punk band from Brooklyn, New York. They formed in 2001 and have, for the most part, seen the same lineup throughout their entire tenure. That is until 2011 when bassist Gerard Smith unfortunately passed away at the age of 36 after a battle with lung cancer. Oof. The band consists of Tunde Adebimpe. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't know. But he's co-lead vocalist, backing vocals, and just so you know, everyone in this band is practically a multi-instrumentalist, so I'm not going to list everything they do. Let's see, we have David Andrew Sitek on lead guitar, Kip Malone on co-lead vocals, backing vocals, guitar, bass, synth, strings, etc., and Jaleel Bunton on drums, percussion, programming, strings, and bass. Yeah, all the other ones had like a bunch of other things listed too, and it's just like, you know what, I'll just say multi-instrumentalists. that works. Just kind of like what I did with Bungle, where I just kept saying multi-instrumentalist, this person, Okay, anyways. So that is the band, but the album, their second studio album, Return to Cookie Mountain, I should say, was released in July 2006 through Interscope, Touch and Go, and 4AD. It was recorded at Stay Gold and Headgear Studios, both in Brooklyn, New York. The album, I completely didn't write an entire sentence there. The album that we're looking at today, of course, that's where they were recorded, and it was actually well received, mostly through all of its reviews across the board. This includes Spin Magazine's Album of the Year I didn't write the placement. God, I didn't do my job properly today, did I? Regardless, I believe it was Spin Magazine's Album of the Year. I think that was actually number 1 for 2006. Number 2 on Pitchfork's Top 50 Albums of 2006. Number 8 on Rhapsody's 100 Best Albums of the Decade. It got an 88 on Metacritic, 4.5 out of 5 stars from Rolling Stone, an A from the AV Club, 4 out of 5 stars from Q, Spin, and AllMusic. The album spawned 2 singles, Wolf Like Me and Province, featuring none other than musical legend chameleon himself, David Bowie.
Dang.
I know
that's some good cred.
Pretty much, yeah, the rub. And I think Bowie even worked on one of their previous albums, if I'm not mistaken. Oh. He worked on one of them, I think. So that's probably why he joined in on this one, because he had so much faith in the band.
Cool. That's good.
And just before we go into the actual album, too, I mentioned this when we did Grapes of Wrath, but that requester didn't write anything for me to read. Scott, on the other hand, followed the instructions. Optional instructions, I should say. Basically, I do ask in the forum, or we do ask, I should say, like, you know, why did you choose this album? Why do you like it so much? What would you rank the songs, rate the record? You know, the same things that we would talk about on the show. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to read the first part of his answer here, because obviously the rest has to do with his rankings and ratings, which we'll get into when we get into that portion of the show. Yeah. So again, the question to Scott was like, you know, why'd you pick this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, why'd you like it? His words. I chose this album because it was by a band I discovered doing a radio show for my local high school in the mid-2000s. Hey, shout out there, brother. Radio graduate right here. That was something unique, had something off-kilter yet catchy to offer, and I couldn't put my finger on why I liked it, but it captivated me. It's an album that ranks fairly high from the 2000s decade. And then again, details to come later. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, it's good to know how much you like this. And yeah, radio program. Huh? You got a radio program in your high school? I didn't have that. What the hell? I barely had AV in high school. I had like the communications class where we did some video and that was it.
I had a dedicated guitar class, and that's where
I did both a guitar class and a vocal class.
Ooh, cool.
So I was just music all over the place, but I sucked at doing anything else musically.
Cool. I think the only thing my high school had over any in the area was cabinet making.
Oh, okay.
That was cool.
That could also come in handy. I mean, cabinets are always nice to have.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, let's dig in to TV on the Radio, Return to Cookie Mountain. So song number 1, I Was a Lover.
Okay, so I found this. Okay, I'm just going to preface all of this with You Already Hate Me. I really apologize that I'm completely postponing any redemption I might have. That is all. I found this song was kind of an assault on my ears. It gave me a bad impression on what the album was going to contain, because it isn't the noisy noisy music that I like. Although multiple listens definitely helped. I found that the first time I was like, what the hell is this? But then as I'm listening to it, I want to give it a chance, right? And it definitely helped. I won't turn off the song. It's just there's more in the album that I like. Yeah. And I didn't like that. I guess at the beginning when the horns are introduced, it kind of feels like they're cut off prematurely. And that really ground my gears, because later on in the song, I could hear the horns sustained. And I was like, I know you could do it. And it would have sounded better if
I feel like it was just the use of a sample of anything. That's what I'm guessing.
It was like clipped at the end.
Yeah, I know. And that's what made it feel like a sample to me, because it just felt like a cut off sample at some point.
Yeah, I hated that.
It's so weird that, like, I know you said multiple listens change your idea a bit of tracks like this. Yeah. It's just weird to hear you say not the kind of noise music you were into. It's like, we covered Daughters, right? I mean,
yeah,
and that was fucking chaotic.
I found that I could. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's kind of like an art piece where you can, it's a Picasso, fine, but you can kind of make out what it is. Where this one, it's like I had to just stare at it. And then eventually I was like, oh, I see it. I
don't know. I felt this one was a little more digestible. Like the album as a whole, like as much as I obviously scored Daughters really high personally, that's not nearly as digestible as this album was.
Yeah. Personal let's chalk it up to personal preference.
Supposing so. I thought it was an interesting use of samples at the beginning of the track. Like, it did kind of cut off a little weird, but like when you're using samples, I'm kind of used to that kind of abrasive, just like chop. So it doesn't bother me so much. They do fit in curiously with like the really slow and unusual style drum beat. So I thought that was really cool, like the program beat. There's a lot that kept getting introduced sonically into this track. By the way, that's going to be word of the day moving forward is sonically. So I'll just say that, because I'm going to say that more than once. It was a lot to take in all at once, but I was still kind of enjoying it, though. I personally liked it. Like, after a while, it started to feel like kind of a dream. Like, you have this, like, drone of static or rushing water kind of mixed in with the synths or guitars, and that gave the song, like, a very surreal quality, which I thought that was really interesting. Hard to get into at first, maybe, but I don't know. In the end, I did enjoy it. There was a portion of the song that had layering of like real drums and drum machine that I thought was a really good choice. It was like in the second verse, I think. Regardless, I just like the dual layer of it, because you can hear they weren't exactly on time with each other. Like you can hear like the human side of the drum beat, which I thought was really interesting. I always like stuff like that. These tiny little nuances. And I never really knew how to feel about this track, as certain parts kind of did feel like a little overwhelming, but it's definitely not a bad start to the album, in my opinion.
I think if I could name this just with just one word, it would be overwhelming. Yeah.
There you go. Well, I'm pretty sure there's probably a couple other tracks that'll do that for you then.
Well, there were a couple that I was like, wow, this is like, I can get into this. I would listen to this again. And then others, I'm just like, oh my God, it's killing me. But you got to have that kind of balance, right? You got to have the digestible ones, and then the ones where they're like, okay, we're going to go a little crazy here.
Yeah. So. And any songs moving forward where like I might not like too much, it's not even that like I hated them or felt too overwhelmed by them, but just like some obviously excited me more than others.
Yeah.
You'll definitely hear that coming up my notes too. I think it'll be fairly obvious at some points. All right, so song number 2, we have Hours, and I thought there was just like a great drum pass to start off this entire song. I thought it was fantastic. Like you had that descending tom drum melody that's kind of going through. I thought that was great. There's an organ in the song too, and it does like a great job keeping like a consistent atmosphere through the verses. Really good addition. The layers of droning sounds and like these, especially like in the second verse, I think it was, and then there's just like these kind of like sparse sprinklings of like weird sounds kind of in your left and right ear at different points. I thought that was kind of a nice touch too. Just adds more again to the atmosphere, just a lot of character to the track. And there are some horns in the second half that pushed like the bass melody along too. So I will say that, like, yeah, the bass guitar itself was kind of weak on this album. The bass, not so much, because, like, there's a lot of synths and everything that covered that ground. But, yeah, the bass guitar was definitely, like, a little more subdued. So to have something like a horn section in this song push along the melody helped it out. It's okay if it needed training wheels. It still sounded good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did a lot to add to the sound. So I kind of like that.
Okay, so from the beginning, I liked this one. The vocals, I did feel this way about the previous song, that the vocals, I enjoyed them. I would say that is pretty much a blanket statement for the majority of this album. I think that they fit the music quite well. I personally think that the song would be better served if the higher pitched background vocals came in and out and didn't stay the whole time, because that's where I start to get the feeling of being overwhelmed, where it kind of something is added and it's not replacing, it's just adding and adding. And then I just feel like I'm under 17 weighted blankets and I can't breathe. I kind of wish it didn't stay the whole time, because I did much prefer the first little bit where they were absent. And if they came in, dropped out, I would have liked a little more. But despite all that, I would definitely play this song again.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, you have at least one positive thing to say so far.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's not that far into it, so there's still more.
I was gonna say, yeah, like I'm still getting bad vibes from you at this point, but we will see how it progresses.
Well, that's okay, because I give bad vibes to people in my family as well, so.
Good, you're consistent. If anyone's ever complimented you, I hope that was the one.
Well, I'll take it as such. Thank you.
This is how I compliment people, right here. That's a backhanded compliment for the audio listeners. I have to explain the joke. Haha, funny. Anyway, song number 3.
Yes.
Province. Once again, featuring David Bowie. I like pointing that out because everyone loves David Bowie to some extent. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you got for this one?
Okay, so I found that it had a moderately funky feel to it. That's sort of how I felt from the beginning, which I definitely gravitate to, and I like that a lot. I think that the higher background vocals in this song fits it so much better, and I actually feel like it's pretty nice. When the guitar really picks up, it kind of felt like a dam breaking, because up until that, it was just sort of like building a little bit. And then when it comes in, it just let it all go. I like that. The introduction of the piano was definitely needed to spice up the back half. And I felt like I could still hear the piano during the chorus, but it's like really, really back there. And the fact that I kind of tuned into that, I really enjoyed sort of that contrast. Yeah,
there was definitely, in its own way, like a wall of sound type feel in that chorus. It's not necessarily like, drums in this speaker, guitars over here, but like I'm not talking necessarily about Phil Spector, but in his method, but like wall of sound just meaning like just a block of sound, just completely overwhelming, not overwhelming, but like taking over the soundscape. So
yeah,
I know what you mean, and I actually do have a note about that too. But yeah, you're right. This is a really kind of funky kind of track. A great bouncy halftime beat to start the track, like already really having fun with it right off the top. And this felt like a good track for David Bowie to be in on. Like for his and the thing is, like, though, the singers sing in such a way, there's especially a song coming up a little later in the album that I thought David Bowie was singing on, but no, he's only singing on this one. Yeah. Sometimes it can be hard to hear him though, because like some of the vocalists, the way they sing sometimes kind of have that Bowie-esque presentation to them. So it was hard to know where Bowie was like beginning and ending in this song. Not that I was only looking for him, but obviously if he's here, I'm going to be like, okay, where are you? Let's take a look here.
Yeah. What did they let you do?
More like, what did he allow him to do? Whatever. He was in charge. I guarantee he was. He must have been. You just say no to him?
Well, I mean, I feel like someone of that stature and notoriety, they don't really need anybody to sort of, I don't know. He doesn't really need to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. He's like, this is your house. You tell me what I'm doing.
I would hope so. Although if you ever hear the stories about the the vocal battles of him and Freddie Mercury on Under Pressure.
Oh, really?
I
have not.
They were constantly trying to outdo each other. I'm not going to go into that story, but like they were two egotistical people who were trying to outdo each other at every turn. So if you listen to that song, you can hear it. You can hear the one-upsmanship at every turn in that song.
Ooh, I'm going to listen to it with that in mind now. I've never heard of that before.
There's videos and documentaries on it. Like, you can watch it. Like, it is very well documented.
Fabulous.
The rest of the band hated working on that song. But anyways, back to TV on the Radio here. Yes. Yeah, good track for Bowie to be on. There's like very airy light guitars in the background in the verse, and I thought it was awesome because like it does add well to the atmosphere and helps strengthen the song without like trying to stand too far out on its own, which I think would have taken away some of like the mood and energy the song was kind of putting forth. Mm-hmm. Really appreciated that. But yeah, then we get to the chorus, which is very grand. As I said, big block of sound, wall of sound, if you will. The soundscape was filled out really nicely. You have this like low bass and then these like dreamlike droning synths that, once again, here's that word of the day, makes it sonically appealing.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. It's very appealing, just very attractive to my ears, the way that it came in, because you were right. The verses do build to this very grandiose type chorus, and I don't think it couldn't have been written any better than that, which that's not saying any of it is bad, because I've really enjoyed this track.
That was all that I had. I just verbal vomit on you at the beginning.
That's exactly what I do too. I'm just seeing if anything bounces back, but that's okay. Because that means we just move on to song number 4, Playhouses. And I think this was a really jarring start to the song, especially considering what we were just given. You have like these plain engine-like synths that kind of just start everything up, and it really demands your attention because it's like right there in your face.
I do want to add to that before you continue.
Okay.
My first line, the beginning sounds like the THX movie thing. It almost blew my eyebrows off.
Fair, yeah, especially if you got a decent enough volume. It's kind of, it'll take you by surprise because it starts right away too. It doesn't build into it.
Oh yeah.
Things get pretty crazy after the 30-second part. I mean, you have this very jazzy style drumming with what's like this menacing sounding like synth or guitar kind of acting as like a droning wallpaper in the background of the song. So I thought that was really cool. That felt really cool. I want to stop saying sonically, but I mean, just the way it's structured and toned and like the energy it builds and just it's memorable. So it's really fantastic what it does in this track. A lot of energy in the song, as I said, but something about it still feels like it's being a little bit subdued. Like it could have given you a little more like, But I guess I won't complain, though, because what it did give me, like, I felt was very lively, and I was enjoying pretty much this entire track. 5 minutes and 12 seconds, I didn't even think of the time. By the time it was over, I thought it had only been 3 minutes, so if anything, probably could have used more. And yes, I'm trying to reword this next note here because, again, it has the word Sonic in it. This is not a tie into the Sonic 2 movie coming out, okay? God damn it. Oh, God. I just realized that, too. But yeah, this, I will say, sonically speaking, it is one of the most appealing songs in the album to me so far, just because of how vast it sounds and what they're doing with it, too. I really, really like this one.
I like the drums. They definitely have a good groove. I'm starting to realize that I tend to notice that first, where it's just sort of, I don't know, it literally sets the pace for like my brain to follow. So I kind of like that. I felt that the vocal harmonizing kind of feels like they're slightly off time with each other. Where
That's
it's
possible,
like and I don't know, it gives me like, obviously it gives me like a human feel because you're not like programming them exactly at the same time. They're not exactly layered on each other, but it's kind of off-putting only because I don't hear that very often. So it feels like it's done on purpose. And then it's like, why did they do that on purpose? Do they want me to feel uncomfortable? Because you kind of, it did. It kind of did. But I mean, like, it was cool. I did find the song a little long. I did kind of lose interest maybe around 4 minutes or so, but throwing another minute on, not too bad, but I feel like it could have ended a little earlier. But I feel like this song is something that I could listen to, while doing a task. Like it would sort of keep me on what I'm doing, but I don't know if I would listen to it for leisure because it didn't put me at a leisurely feel.
Well, and that's the thing with like tracks with like a lot of droning sound in it is I guess it'd be easier to focus on your task because just like there's not too much distracting you and it's just kind of like a white noise in a way that just you know, you try to sleep and you have white noise on, or just like some people will literally like study with like static in headphones just because like it blocks out everything. It's one steady tone and just kind of going. So I guess I could understand that. Although I would listen to this one casually. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely more the I don't know, maybe experimental music lover, where I'm just sort of getting into it, so I'm just kind of trying to pick and choose what I enjoy. Yeah. And so far, I haven't found the perfect song because if I did, I would have written it.
Yeah.
So.
Fair enough. Yeah. And I guess fair point about the experimental music thing, or to an extent of that, because like, yeah, coming into this podcast over the now 30 episodes that we've done, like the weirdest albums brought in more or less have been by me, I guess. Yeah. Because like, you know, you have your Daughters, you have your Bungle, I brought in Primus. I mean, you brought in Fishbone, although you hadn't listened to that prior either. So I mean, like, but that was still not my choice though.
Yeah.
And I got some strange ones coming up too, not just you.
I have one coming up around my birthday for a celebration, but we gotta wait forever
months
for that.
Away.
I know. Hey, it comes every year. At least it's something to look forward to.
You need like a digital like timer that counts down like right on the wall behind you, and it's like literally counting down to your birthday.
Yeah. If I was smarter, I would know how many days, but I am not. So.
And that's what calendars are for. But okay, so song number 5, the album's leading single, "Wolf Like Me."
I can see why this was a single thus far.
Oh yeah,
totally. Now this song has a familiar feel to it, and I don't know if I've heard this song before, or if it's because it's sort of a product of its time, and maybe there were many bands that created sort of songs kind of like this. But I can't recall if I've ever heard it, but it kind of has this like a nostalgic familiar feel to it. So, I mean, I appreciate it for that. I like the chorus vocal melody. Some parts of it are memorable and definitely earworm worthy.
Oh yeah. This is definitely one of the more catchier tracks on the album. I mean, there's a lot of catchy tracks, but this one especially.
Oh yeah. And I'm not a fan of the, like, just generally of the fuzzy overdrive sound as a whole. I figure, you know, this doesn't sound too bad. And then after a while, it kind of started to wear on me. But again, that's just personal preference. No knock on the band. But it felt like it wore on them as well, because as soon as I thought that, it stopped. And that was fine. I was cool with that.
Are you referring to the middle portion of the halftime breakdown type thing?
Quite possibly, but it just kind of seems like they just turned their guitars up to 10 and were just strumming over and over. And I was like, there's just so much. But then it stopped and then it was fine. It came back, but during that sort of break, it was definitely a breath of fresh air. And I feel like that song definitely benefited from having the contrast of having that loud, I guess not aggressive, but more loud in your face bit. And then sort of the more toned down sort of quieter part.
It's definitely the post-punk aspect of the band, because it's post-punk. Yeah, it kind of has qualities of punk music, but doesn't sound like it too much. Yeah. And I think this band does that very well. I mean, there's a lot of bands that do it very well, but like not having heard this album prior to today, or not today, but like this week I've been listening to it, I should say. Yeah, I think they did it very well. This is one of those songs where it really stands out. And it might sound familiar too, because not only was it like a single, and it was played a lot on like indie radios and alternative radios, but this was also in like either Guitar Hero or Rock Band, either or. So, and I know you've mentioned that on the show before, saying that you've played like, I think, John the Fisherman when we talked about Primus last week. So you might have very well heard or even played this song before.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. Although I really do like the song, though. There's a great flow to start the track. I thought it was fantastic. Definitely plays on the energy of the previous track, too, but it like picks up on it a little more, so I really appreciated that. It feels kind of cohesive, just like combining those two together. It's interesting that aside from the vocals, that nothing really tries to take too much of a lead on most of the tracks. Like, again, as I already mentioned before, it's like nothing too front facing, nothing too loud in the mix or anything like that. So it all just contributes to like a fantastic collection of sound, essentially. So for no better terms to describe it with. But yeah, the halftime breakdown in the middle of the song I thought was gorgeous. It got softer, but the energy was still there somehow. Maybe because of the halftime beat, and like there were still like these really fast strums on like the guitars and stuff too, but it was like much quieter. So I really appreciated that. Rhythmically and melodically, the song gives me chills, especially that part. Just really enjoy it. Such a fun track. There's just like great pacing, great sounds all together, and like the mood and energy are all very present. So it's very much appreciated that it didn't like give up on itself, so to speak.
I feel like all of my reviews are so primitive compared to yours. Yours are so insightful and precise, and mine's like, me no likey. And then that's it.
Something dynamic. I don't know. That's what we've always been preaching here.
I'm the dumb one.
Well, at least you said it, not me.
Yeah, you wanted to. I like the background vocals taking over near the end. That was nice, and I really appreciated that. It was a nice little come down. It definitely earworm worthy. And I'm just gonna, for every song on this album, it's would I listen to this again? I would listen to this one again.
Alrighty then. So far, we're only 5 songs through. And I have 2 X's and 3 question marks on whether or not we'll match. As I said, I do this all the way up until the final song that we review, and it's kind of weird. This one is a question mark, but although I'm feeling an X right now, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
I hope that the entire thing is a question mark, and it just drives you mad. You're just like, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Well,
the good news is like within like the next 30 to 40 minutes, I'm going to have that mystery solved regardless, so it doesn't really matter. Alrighty, so song number 6, A Method. This is quite the come down from the last track, I will say that much, or the last 2 tracks realistically. But I figured it's likely needed at this point, just like it's nice to have this kind of like calmer track, I guess, or just one that's not so intense. All the additional, like, I do like the way the song was built. It's a little quieter, especially on the percussion side too, but there is additional percussion towards the middle of the song that I thought was really cool and really appreciated as well. I anticipated the song getting heavier from that point, but it just kind of continued on as it had been, so I was a little let down, but it's not that it like completely torched the score. I will say though that like the vocals were really monotone in this one. I'm not talking about like the harmony vocals, but like the lead vocals kept landing on the same note over and over again for like the entire track. So I mean, like, it did get a little bothersome before too long. I was trying to be okay with it, but as the song kept continuing, I was like, okay, this is starting to get a little grating now. Like the harmonies are nice, but yeah, just the monotone just got a little grating.
Okay, so I feel a little opposite, actually. I found the song repetitive, but I actually kind of liked it. The song kind of sounds like you would make a good like 1 to 1.5 minute long song that intros another. I feel like you would,
so like an interlude or something like that.
Yeah, and then it comes in, and then the song that follows is like louder, and kind of get that slower intro, kind of like that. It did give me kind of a cappella in church feels, where like a group walked in, they started singing, and you think that's going to be it, but no, they go really hard and everyone is watching in awe. And then as the song ends, the singers just walk away whistling in tune and snapping their fingers as the audience is trying to wrap their heads around what the fuck they just saw. They put the hook at the beginning, and I like that. I don't really like having to weed through the whole song to kind of find the hook, because in just some songs, some bands, they just don't really present it outwardly. It's kind of in there somewhere. And I liked it. It ended just when I wanted it to. And for that, I am grateful.
I guess because the vocals got to me that I felt like it probably went on too long.
Oh, probably.
It was only 4 minutes and 26 seconds, but at the same time,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, if there was more instrumental in this song, I probably would have been fine with it. But
yeah,
the vocals were kind of right there, so what can you do? And I think this was the track, too, where I was also going to use the word a cappella in my notes, but I didn't. I was like, no, because I kind of like the kind of things that are happening in the background, so I wouldn't want it to be completely a cappella, especially because, like, as I said, those vocals got a little grating after a while, so that would have that would have torched the score.
Yeah, I definitely can understand where you're coming from with that, because that is a lot of my thoughts when it comes to, well, I mean, some other songs, but I mean, even albums that we've done in the past. It's just, you get that one song and you're just like, I'm sorry, but it's kind of ruining all the songs around it.
That didn't happen in this particular instance, so
good.
I'll be a little more thankful for that, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, so song number 7, Let the Devil In.
Okay, so you want the good news or the bad news first?
Whatever you think's more appropriate.
Okay, good news first, you first.
I suppose then. Well, I'll start off, and I have a feeling I know one thing that you're probably going to hate about this track, which is probably my first note. Holy acoustic drum bouncing. The panning is insane.
I didn't notice. I don't think I
you're wearing
noticed.
headphones. How'd you not know? Like, it's like do, like left, right, left, right, left, right.
Oh, my brain's like, yeah, those are gunshots. So then I was fine.
No, it's just super acoustic, like reverby hallway type drumming. It's like a drum set at the other end of the hallway.
Oh, shit.
It wasn't overly extreme. I did like how it sounds. It just felt very jarring, especially because I wasn't anticipating it in my headphones. So
yeah,
that felt a little weird. I like how noisy the verses feel, and I know that you said you weren't really too fond of the noisiness parts, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
We'll see in a moment how you feel about this one.
Yeah,
the loud vocals and the blended sounds in the background do a great job of filling up the soundscape again, so I thought that was really cool. They're making use of everything that they have. And other than that, like, to be honest, I don't really have too many notes about this track. It's still an exciting listen, but as it's kind of tame as compared to like some of the other songs that we've heard for the sake of sound expansion. Mm-hmm. Like let's just go back to Playhouse. I mean, like, that one did it very well in my opinion. This one did it well too, but it didn't feel as exciting.
Okay, so
bad news.
Okay. My lawyer made me say this. I am wholeheartedly apologetic to the requester of this album. But if you have heard my takes on albums in the past, you know my takes are trash. So please take this with, again, a grain of salt. In all honesty, this one did nothing for me, even after multiple listens. Wow. I felt it was definitely too long, perhaps almost by 4 minutes. I felt they let the devil in and it needs an exorcism. That one was just because I thought it was funny. And I did like the multiple voices in the chorus, but it sounded like drunk friends at karaoke.
Wow. Alrighty then, that's a hell of a way to put it.
Yeah, I
never thought of it that way.
Yeah. Well, that's what I heard. Because I get images when I'm listening to certain things, and that's definitely what I got. But that was all the notes that I had for that. And again, please refer to my lawyer prepared statement. Thank you.
I like how you took all that time to apologize, but meanwhile, like, you tore down like Weezer and were like barely sorry for it.
That's because it's Weezer.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fine.
Didn't you just literally do one of those Weezer songs for like a new music review that we do?
Yeah, because I wanted to know if it got better. It didn't.
No, not new Weezer. No, you have to go back to older Weezer, not new Weezer.
Oh.
Backwards, not forwards.
Well, I can't do old Weezer for a new music review. That's silly.
No, but you can do it on your own time, damn it. Blue album, Pinkerton to an extent. Green album, I guess. So, like, go for it.
We'll see. We'll see if I feel up to it.
Just ignore whatever the fuck Pork and Beans was on. But anyway.
Oh my god, that's where it just downhill. Oh no, it went downhill before that.
Controversial take. I think it went downhill when Island in the Sun came out. I know people love that
Yes.
song, but I
No,
fucking
yep.
hate it. I actually hate it.
As soon as I heard Hash Pipe, I was like, no, I'm good. Thank you. Goodbye.
I actually like Hash Pipe. That was the last good song I liked by Weezer.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fun little track. But anyway, speaking of fun little tracks, we got a few more left on this album. We should probably discuss those since those are like, the topic at hand. Weezer's
Yes.
Long Dong. Wow. Freudian slip. Okay. Song number 8, Dirty Whirl. Stylized as one word, though maybe I don't really know grammar that well.
Pokemon name.
Me not English, so I don't know. Great drum beat to start. So I enjoyed that. With the quiet, almost broken sounding synth pianos, I thought that was a really neat little touch. Really enjoyed that little texture to the sound. Not sure the louder and very forward-facing vocals feel fit with the instrumentals. Like they feel like two different ideas kind of brought into the same room.
Yeah.
As good as some of the portions of the song sounds, I feel like it ran out of ideas and momentum before the song finally concluded. Not to say that I completely hated it, but at the same time, just this is another one of those tracks where I didn't feel as excited by it as I had with previous tracks on the album. So maybe my expectations were too high because I felt like this album was very front heavy. So as you start kind of moving back to this, the B side, it's like, oh, I kind of wish they did this instead, or I wish it sounded like this. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Again, drum beat. I like the waltzy feel to this. I will always like that. I found the chorus was nice. After repeat listens, I could see myself replaying the chorus in my head. That is a good thing. Definitely earworm worthy. I just don't think I like the fuzzed out vocals. That's just not a thing I like. So you're talking about wall of sound sort of having everything just sort of there at once. Now, the thought I had about it is if you're getting a KFC famous bowl and you mix it all together, you can't really discern what there is. It's just all kind of tastes like mashed potato and that's really it. So it kind of felt like that. I kind of would want to taste a little bit of each thing, but it's pretty much in the chef's preparation, whatever they want you to take. The reindeer bells, don't know what else to call them. Definitely need to make more of an appearance in modern songs. I will petition it. I heard it in the song. Appreciated it.
We've been over this before.
It was fine.
I can't remember where it was. It might have been Fishbone.
Yeah.
But there was something where it had the exact same sleigh bell, jingle bell type thing. I didn't like it, but you did. And I again, wasn't too heavy on it. So, I mean, what is it about that sound that is dividing us here?
I don't know. Maybe I like Christmas. But I liked it in here. I heard it. I was
your birthday's pretty close to Christmas.
Ooh, it is. It is. Yes. I guess just kind of adding on to the losing steam kind of thing. I literally clicked on the play bar different points in the song and they all sounded the same. I didn't really want to knock it for that, but with the exception of the last 30 seconds, this kind of whole song was just an extension of the first little bit over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I believe, what was I going to say? Because with the song that kind of sounds the same running through, it might not bother me, but honestly, I think it more comes down to length and also what you do with the sound you're using. 4 minutes and 14 seconds the song was, and I think that might be too long for this particular kind of track. If this song was 240, 250, it would have been perfect. Because it's that way you're not expected or obligated to do too much with the track. But then 414, it's kind of on your shoulders that you should probably do a little more with it at the very least. Or at least try to do something bigger with the track and just make it feel more grand.
Yeah.
There's an example of that coming up later, and I'll definitely bring it up when it comes up. But yeah, this song was not it.
Yeah, it was pretty steady until the end, and then it, like a couple other songs that we have reviewed, it really I'm oh, what is it? Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
And I'm you gave it to me and then you stole it back.
And also, I gotta backstep 1 second and tell you how offended I am from your KFC comment, because as a celiac, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
I've only seen pictures of it. I've never eaten it either.
Good.
I just know people that will eat Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner and just take everything and just dip it in their mashed potatoes. I'm like, everything tastes like mashed potatoes. Why are you doing? Why do you do that? As he's slyly,
it's all going to the same place anyway.
But don't you want to just enjoy it and be like, this is delicious? Like,
it is delicious. It doesn't matter.
I mean, at least I cover absolutely everything in cranberry sauce. But
then you know better. Jeez. It's like people who just put gravy on literally everything on the plate.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I am the persecutor?
Oh, yeah. I don't know law at all. I just know you're being sued and you're going to jail. That's it.
I just know that I am the one pointing out other people's flaws while not admitting or accepting any of my own. The end.
Oh, so you're the suspect. Okay, gotcha. All right, we'll move on now to song number 9. God, now I miss KFC. I've only been celiac for 4 years, okay? I remember KFC. Song number 9, Blues from Down Here.
Ever have a double down? Those are so good. Just don't eat it in public. People will judge you so hard.
I judge you if I know you've eaten it,
I've had 2 in my life. Loser. I've had 2 in my life, and one of them was last year.
And that's 6 years off your life right there.
That's fine. I'm fine with it. It was delicious.
What am I supposed to do? A solo podcast? Jeez. This podcast can't be done solo. It'd be boring as hell.
Fair enough. I'll eat broccoli.
Savannah can die later. Song number 9, Blues from Down Here.
I like the drum pattern. It definitely, physically felt like he was pushing me forward. Like I don't know. Maybe the tempo was my I guess, walking pace, but I really enjoyed that. Now I did make note, is this the signature sound from this band? Like, I've never heard them before. I've never heard the band name, any of that. But I am sort of tired of the muddy instruments. It does match the voice, but I just don't know if this is like a one-off album that they're like, oh, let's try this, or if this is just what they are. But the vocals remind me of sort of mid to late 80s sort of goth bands, and I actually kind of dig that in this song.
So like you're talking about like a Depeche Mode or The Cure type thing, or Susie and the Banshees? Kind
of like I don't know. The thing that came to my head was like Killing Joke, but I haven't heard very much from them. Oh, okay. But it's just kind of like a more deep sort of like brooding goth, and less like, hey, I'm goth, but I can still have fun. Less of that.
It's like a Bauhaus that's like a little too happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I dug it. It was good.
Funny enough, though, if you want to like take a dive back to older bands, I said on my very first note, the vocals definitely feel like they were going to have the vocals definitely feel like they're going full Bowie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have dyslexia. Apparently, I can't read my own notes. But yeah, like I actually had to look into the notes to make sure David Bowie didn't also sing on this one, which he did not. He was only on Province. But my God, were they trying to be? I think like Bowie was in the studio and they just wanted to impress him or something like that. So they just went full Bowie. So yeah, he'd already done a track on this album. So it's like, no, this isn't it at all. But interesting vocal melodies and presentation, I guess. You can definitely get that, end of the album cool down from this track. Like we're not there yet. We got a couple more tracks, but like you can tell the wind down is happening at this point, more or less. There are woodwinds in this song too, and it's behind this the relentlessly paced like triplet drums that are there that I found very interesting. It was a very interesting touch to throw in those woodwinds too, because like it's not that it's the first time that they're present on the album, but they work really well here because they're really low and bassy at certain points too, which I thought was really cool. Mm-hmm. I feel like the song had given me anything it had to offer by like the halfway point, I'm going to say. It's not that it's bad, but I feel like I was getting a little done with it far before the final minute, which again, the song is not again, but just to say the song is 5 minutes and 17 seconds.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like anything the song wanted to give me was already done within like the first 2 minutes. And then from there, it's just like keep playing beyond that. I
have nothing else other than I enjoyed the the drum beat and the vocals. Everything else was just sort of in my opinion, in my head, it was just sort of a rehashing of the loud or oral attack in my ears.
No, yeah, I can get that. And just, I don't know. At this point in the album, I started getting worried. I'm just like, oh, are they gonna like end on a low note here? And like, I was really enjoying the first half.
Yeah.
But there are 2 more songs on the album, and I'm not going to spoil too much until we start talking about them like literally right now, but I will say it picked up for me at the very least. So song number 10, penultimate track, Tonight. The very airy reverb like sounds that kind of get this track going are a really good touch. I really enjoyed that. It's a great mood setter. This one obviously kind of like on a bit of a lower mood. There was like this sequenced bass progression kind of going through the song too that sounded like it had a bit of clipping to it. Like it was just like this hard start to each note of it. It kind of pulled the mood back a little bit, but at the same time, I tried not letting it bother me. Realistically, it didn't bother the score, so that's fine. I'm just checking both my notes here because I want to make sure. Oh, damn it. I say it one more time, but whatever. Sonically, another satisfying track.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I need a thesaurus. I really do. I need to find new words to use. Like I'm already like wearing the shit thin.
Yeah.
This was like a really dreamy track aside from like certain jarring parts. This probably didn't need to be as long as it was, but this was still actually a really nice track. Probably one of the better ones on the back half of the album, so I did enjoy this one.
So a lot of the things that I have written down for this one, you've already touched upon, so forgive me for any redundance. I guess there were chimes or whatever at the beginning. I did like that.
Oh, yeah.
It sounded fresh and pleasing, and it was just sort of, it was a nice slow beginning. I like that.
On an album that's tried a lot, it's nice to have something like that thrown in every once in a while.
Yeah, like it's a literal breath of fresh air. You're just like, oh my God, I can hear my own thoughts.
Well, because chimes are associated with a calm breeze, right? So
yeah,
there you go.
I like that. And now I wasn't sure what was different about the bass, and I thought maybe it was because I could actually hear it. It wasn't just the feeling of bass, like I could actually hear it. I liked it. I think just I could hear different notes being played. That was definitely appreciated. The whistling in the background kind of sounds like birds, and it sounds like it's vast, like it's outdoors. So
that goes with the
cool.
chimes.
Yeah, I like that.
Setting the mood here.
Now you mentioned woodwinds. I did put, is that like woodwinds at about 4 minutes 15? I thought it sounded cool because if they made an appearance earlier in the album, I didn't hear it. This was the first time. And I was like, ooh, what is that? This is nice. So it's not very often, if at all, we've heard an album that had them. So I point up for that one. The song was definitely growing on me a little bit more by the fourth listen. Unfortunately, it is 7 minutes long, so having to listen to that 4 times, it was worth it by the end. But I did feel massively fatigued from the other songs that are either objectively too long or they just didn't change enough that it feels like I'm listening to the same verse or chorus over and over again. So I think this one kind of suffered due to its brethren before them. So, but aside from that, the woodwind's fucking sick.
Very good then.
Yeah,
because throughout everything we've listened to, I'm just like trying to think really quickly. The only thing that could come to my mind that might have had woodwinds in it, like aside from like the occasional saxophone you hear, probably be like Fishbone, Mr. Bungle maybe.
Yeah.
I don't really remember, but yeah, we don't get that too often in what we listen to. So
yeah,
who knows what the future holds?
Woo! I like it.
Kind of technically we do, but even then we don't know a lot of the albums. I can't say that. We just not completely familiar with a lot of the albums coming up.
And it's a we as a collective, the listeners, the we.
Yeah, but maybe they'll be way more familiar with certain albums than we are, so we don't know that. Anyways, this note's kind of irrelevant, so we might as well just move on to the very last song. Number 11, Wash the Day. Okay, so yeah, this one's 8 minutes long, so I was a little concerned going into this one with the length. I'm just like, okay, what are you going to give me here? You're either going to give me like a whole 8-minute track. You're going to give me like half a song and then silence or something that follows that, or you're going to give me like song, silence, secret song, which it actually ended up being the middle, kind of. So this song really had a weird and excellent like industrial post-punk start to it. Just different instrumentation that I wasn't quite, can't say that I wasn't used to on this album, but like they pushed it a lot more in this one. I really loved the distortion. I thought it was fantastic. So yes, and this is actually where I wrote the note. Word of the day, sonically. I think this is the last time I'm going to use it too, so thank you. You're welcome. If you go back, listen to this episode again, and do a drinking game every time I say that word, and just you'll be trashed by the time we get to this song again.
Yeah, they're probably drunk already.
But yeah, really, can you use this word in a sentence? Oh, this song is fantastic, both sonically and pacing. But that's actually a real review by me right there. So it works. The progression is really simplistic in this song. Maybe only like a few notes for the most part. Not including harmonies, though, like that's just a whole different thing on its own. But the drilling sound really gives it like a dirty psychedelic feeling, which I was actually really enjoying. I kind of like that when it can dig into me like that. Despite it being noisy, I could actually probably close my eyes and listen to this song. It's just kind of hypnotic in that way. I don't know. I was really enjoying it for reasons like that, despite its length. And like, as I said, it's like a bit of a song. Then, like I said, maybe a few minutes of silence. Well, it wasn't really silent at this point, but it was like just a very long, drawn out final note type thing that just, it had things added and kind of fade out and everything like that. I can understand someone being turned off by that long, drawn out ending of the song, but I actually kind of dug it. I don't know. I like stuff like that. It's kind of like my mind was trying to open its third eye at this point. It's just that's when I mentioned it felt like dirty psychedelic and like opening my third eye, hypnotic, all that kind of stuff. Like it's all kind of fits into one image. And so I like what the song did for me at the very least. I thought that was great.
So 4 minutes in and I was still vibing to it. So that's a good sign. Although about 5 minutes in, they decided to play every high-pitched instrument they could get their hands on, and that was far too much for my brain and eardrums, so I was eagerly anticipating it to stop. I like how the song ended, but I think a little bit more distinction between everything and the tambourine would have been a little bit more pleasurable to me. But once the loud noises ended, it was all right. It sounded like water washing up on the beach. So it kind of gave me that sort of relaxy feeling at the end. After it's like someone yelling at you and then being like, it's okay, I still love you. And you're just like, okay. Like I still remember you yelling, but I'm feeling all right now.
That's the coolest part about like noises that can drone like that at songs if used properly. Like it can sound good. It's not just noise. Like if you can have it fit the mood or the atmosphere of the song, and I think it did it well in this one.
Yeah. I'd listen to this one again. I mean, I definitely prefer the front half over the back half, but if I am to take it as a whole, I would listen to this one again.
There you go. That's promising, especially considering its length. I thought you would have been tired of it.
Yeah, no, I was really surprised because by the time I was like, okay, like, you know, I'm kind of not really digging this anymore. I checked the time. I'm like, oh my God, it's half over. Like, I'll totally listen to the other half. And it was very surprising that I sat there for 4 minutes with just no complaints at all. It was good. Yeah.
Very good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Like, I wouldn't say that prematurely, but thank you.
Someone finally feels that way.
My parents don't even say that.
So that will bring us to the end of Return to Cookie Mountain by TV on the Radio. So we hope that you enjoyed this one. We hope you enjoyed listening to it with us, assuming that you did. Thank you very much for doing that. Make sure, again, like, subscribe, comment, share, follow, rate, all that kind of stuff. Let us know what you thought of today's album down in the comments below.
Yeah.
Just like, how'd you feel about each song? What would you change? What did you like or not like about it? It doesn't really matter. You can let us know. We really do are curious of your opinions.
Oh, hell yes.
Especially you, Scott. What did you think of our opinions on what was one of your favorite albums, or at least the one you chose for today? I'm pretty sure you'll let us know. Although you did already let us know about your song rankings and album rating and stuff like that. I will do that after the song rankings. Because he kind of mixed them both into one small paragraph. So I figured I'll just put it in the middle between the rankings and ratings. So we'll get to that momentarily, but first we have to rank the songs. So above our heads, boom, graphics have changed now. There's names, numbers, songs to be filled in, and we're going to do that extremely momentarily. I think we're ready to go.
Heck yes.
Now, just before we start, we didn't do this last week because we forgot, but how many will we match this week?
Ooh.
I have a total of 1, 2, 3 question marks. Everything else is an X.
Oh, this is fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and say 1 because the margin of error for me to be wrong is quite slim. Because anything more than that, I'm like, oh, awesome. Anything less, I'm like, well, it's just 0, whatever.
I'm going to say 2.
Yeah?
One of the question marks I'm not entirely 100% on, but the other ones I feel kind of confident. So I think I'm just going to go with that gut feeling and say 2.
All right, I'm going to go 1. And if any other ranking or ratings have shown us anything, as soon as we've lost hope, the next one will match. So let's see.
We're on a streak of just getting 1 now in a row. I think it's like 2 or 3 albums in a row that we've had 1.
Oh, yikes.
All right, so let's do this. Let's put songs on the titles there. So song number 11, A Method.
Let the Devil In.
I think you just gave yourself away, maybe?
I think so.
No, that's fine. No worries. I mean, it doesn't have to be the number one thing that matches. Number 10, Blues from Down Here.
I was a lover. Now I am a fighter.
Number 9, Dirty Whirl.
Wash the Day.
The good news is at least the ones that we haven't matched on so far aren't any of the question mark ones. So that's promising for me. But there's still hope.
Excellent.
Number 8, I Was a Lover. Oh, that means I lied because I just said, oh, none of them were a question mark. I Was a Lover was a question mark. I should have said that.
Number 8 for me is Playhouses.
Playhouses. Number 7, Let the Devil In.
Dirty Whirl, the Pokemon.
What's its main attack?
I don't know. It's like Poliwhirl if you give it mushrooms.
Fair. You're a dirty whirl, aren't you? Anyways, let's just keep moving right along. Song number 6, Hours.
Hours, we got one.
We got one. That one was an X.
Really?
Okay. Well, I mean, not that my question marks are going to be like completely accurate either, but I mean, the feelings I get from certain songs.
Excellent.
Okay, so song number 5, Tonight.
We got 2. My God.
Wow, cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I wonder if we can get more.
Well, I hope so.
Let's see here. We can get 2 more. So far, we can get 2 more.
Okay.
It won't be this one, though. Number 4, Wash the Day.
Blues from Down Here.
Interesting. Number 3, Province.
Number 3, Province.
Wow.
This is wild.
This is potential for 4. Number 2, Wolf Like Me.
Yeah.
Holy shit, cool.
Yeah. I definitely gave myself away with your last one because that one's my first one.
And my number 1 was Playhouses.
Yeah, A Method. Dang, really?
Wow, we actually have 4. We haven't done that since Eagles.
Yeah.
Really, because that's what broke Daughter's record.
Yeah.
But the Eagles are still technically the top one because it had fewer songs, and so the ratio is much bigger. Yeah. It's like half the album, essentially. Dang, well, there you go. We did it. We actually got 4.
Dang, okay. I'm down.
Now, as if Scott already didn't hate you for saying some negative things about this album, I'm going to really quickly read because maybe I'll save his album tier when we actually get to that list in a moment. Just going through the songs, he says, my favorite tracks are Playhouse, a 10 plus for me. Scott, you know exactly what's up, buddy. You know what's up. Wolf Like Me, he says, great introduction to the band, but I've played it hundreds of times. That I can see why you would have played it 100 times.
Yeah.
And Let the Devil In, a masterpiece of mood. I think, did I say that about that track? I don't even remember now, but I'm pretty sure you've been paying attention, so you'll know.
Yeah, I shat on it, so I appreciate the difference in opinion.
Masterpiece of poo. Anyway, I'm still 10. He says, I think it offers something unusual and gripping for the listener with each listen. There you go. Fair. Well, like, at least he gave us like a good, like, roundabout idea of what he likes. But Playhouses, him and I matched on our number one right there.
Yeah, number one fan. I see. I'm okay with that.
Hey, how's it going, buddy? Alrighty then. Well, I will tell you his album rating in just a minute because now we got to do that. So let's transition screens and find out where this album has to go today. Well, here we are again on the album rating screen, just packing it full of things. Thankfully, the B tier got a rest last week after we put Primus in the A tier, so that was nice to see.
Yes, it was.
It's nice when we don't overstack a tier for one, so, I mean, but we don't know what today's going to hold, so I guess we'll have to wait and see, huh?
As she tugs her collar.
So just before we put our scores out in the open and everything like that, we need to have Scott and his scores go into the ethos of the show, if you will, although it's not technically canonical, but, I mean, it'll always be here for everyone to hear. I've said that word a lot already. So this literally just came down into one sentence here, and it just says, Scott says, mid-range of A tier for me between an 8 and a 9. Some days a high 7 for me when the couple of tracks I don't reach for drag on in spots. That felt a little mistyped, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. I'm not much better at it either. But yeah, so generally he would put it somewhere in the A tier for him between 80 and 90%. So, I mean, fair enough. I mean, you really like the album, so I wouldn't expect any less. Yeah, just give us an absolute trash album to do just for whatever reason. He ranks it like a D tier.
For the lulz. Yeah, and then in the I guess the description of the form is just, I don't care about this album, please review it. It's like, okay, thanks.
Why would you do such a thing?
Thank you. Yep.
All right, so now it's time to find out where TV on the radio goes on our list. And I suppose I'll go first with the score because I believe you did last week since we did Primus and I made you go first.
Yes.
It was interesting how this one came right down to the wire for me, right on the cusp of whether or not it was an A or B, but it came out as an actual A tier at a very dead even 80%.
Wow, I feel ashamed. 67.27, but yeah.
Oh, I knew you would butcher it somehow.
Yeah, well, it's not like I do this on purpose. It's just sometimes the type of music isn't one that will grab me immediately. It will take multiple listens, but I just did not want to listen to this 10 to 12 times.
Well, I mean, maybe Scott was hoping for a better ranking out of us, but the good news out of it is it is now officially the highest rated listener requested album that we have so far because it falls to an average of 73.63%.
Not bad.
And if I recall, the last one we did, which was Grapes of Wrath, was like exactly 71.66 with Big Wreck, like tied with Big Wreck.
Right, so that means you said 73 point which?
63.
All right, that's between the Joshua Tree and 10.
Oh, look at that. Right up there, eh? Mm-hmm. Excellent. I'll resize that later again. I don't feel like doing it on screen right now, but there you go then. Another B tier album, but at the same time, I think it's still got a pretty reasonable score. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of with the 73.
I heard something new and I'm always appreciative of that, so I thank you very much for choosing them.
I will be straightforward and say that, with the front half of this album, it was all scored pretty high for me. And I think by the time I got to Wolf Like Me and I was enjoying myself so much, I was just like, I literally said to myself and said, Scott, what the fuck, this album? Like, where did this come from? I was having a lot of fun. I was really enjoying it.
Yeah. It taught me something new and is definitely opening, like a lot of other albums, sort of opening my eyes to different things that I may actually touch upon again in the future.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, there you go then. We have another B tier album, and that is TV on the Radio's Return to Cookie Mountain, as requested by Scott. I hope we didn't let you down too much. Maybe one of us made you more happy than the other did. I don't know. Or maybe you're just happy that we checked it out altogether.
Yeah, you know what? That latter one sounds beneficial for all of us.
See, now you got to make him feel bad, and you'd be like, "At least we chose the album. Now shut up." You got to be.
Oh no, I can't be aggressive like that. I mean, maybe after we've been doing this for a year, I could just be like, you know what you signed up for. dingus.
You say that now, but we're getting close to the year. We're rounding the bend in about like what 4 or 5 months.
Ooh, whew, I really got to start beefing up my attitude then.
Yeah, you got to like growl in front of a mirror, slap yourself in the face, and just get really angry for no reason, and then just bring that attitude into the podcast.
Yeah, raw eggs, and the one day I don't gag, then I know that I'm ready.
But you also happen to pick like contaminated eggs, so it just makes you feel even worse.
A week in bed, sick.
But yeah, I'm gonna make you record from bed though, because we got to get some episodes done. We don't have to do great webcams. Just pull up your microphone and talk. That'll be fine. But yes, that's the album now that we have covered for today. So thank you very much for joining us. We hope you had a great time with this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you can let us know on our social medias at Rate the Record Podcast over on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Rate the Record on Twitter, and of course email. Although email ? You can always email us at ratetherecord@gmail.com. And just don't forget, wherever you are, like, subscribe, follow, share, rate, comment, do whatever you want to do. Help build the musical community. We really appreciate it, and we really want you to be part of it as we move forward, as we continue to move forward after 30 episodes now. God, it feels like it's been forever.
It definitely does. And the fact that you still show up week after week to deal with someone such as myself is a blessing and a reflection upon your goodness. Thank you.
Maybe I'm just more impressed that you've actually managed to show up for all of them. So I don't know. Like, let's find some silver lining here. Am I right?
You know who I am.
After 30 episodes, I'm getting a good idea.
It's terrible.
And by the 1 year, I'll know everything.
Oh no.
But yes, help us build the musical community, and you can do that in other ways too, not just by liking, subscribing, share, comment, rate, follow, and all that kind of cool stuff that you can do. There is the optional method, financially, if you do so want to do that, at Ko-fi. It's ko-fi.com/ratetherecord. If you want to financially support the podcast, you can absolutely do that. Help it make it bigger, better. We'll be able to make more bonus content to release specifically for Ko-fi, but everything we do right now is still going to be free. Don't worry about that. The podcast, new music reviews, and for the most part, most of the bonus shows that we do, all free. Don't worry about it, but we will make bonus content specifically for Ko-fi. So consider that if you do want to donate. Optional, not being pressured to, but it's there. Check it out.
Yep. I'll do the puppy dog guys if you really want, but it'll be $10.
And I'll just pixelate your portion of the camera and no one has to even say.
Oh.
No manipulation. Only I do that.
Ah, dang.
And if you want to be like Scott and have your album featured on our show like we did today, or any of the other people that we've had requested albums from, you can do that down in the description, be it audio or video, no matter where you are. There is a link to a Google Doc where you can request an album, just a few questions, and obviously, like you saw today, we just ask you what you think of the album, where would you rank things, rate things, and we will read it on air. So if you want us to check out your album, please fill out the form, and we will see if we end up doing it down the road. No guarantees, but probably definitely yes. There are certain limitations, but yeah. But it's all good. Chances are we'll do it. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, just before we go though, because we are at the end of the podcast, we do like to give you a tiny little sneak preview teaser, whatever the heck you want to call it, for next week's episode. And next week is the one that Savannah chose personally. Woo! So give us a little hint about what you've got in store for next week.
Okay. Now, I, again, have never listened to this album, so I'm listening to it with fresh ears. Pretty excited for that. But while on tour and occasionally in the studio, this 4-piece with a human name borrows a member from another highly popular band, and their first few albums seem to follow a Van Halen naming scheme.
John Smith in the album John Smith 1 through 10. We're doing the entire compilation.
Okay, I'm going to have to pick another teaser then because you got it.
Yeah, next week's episode is going to be 7.5 hours long, so just everyone hang tight.
It is a marathon. It's a fundraiser.
It's a live stream. No, we're not doing a live stream. I would like to do a live stream one day, but next week is not that, and it's not John Smith's 1 through 10.
It is not. But if on this video or wherever you are listening to this, you can guess what next show's band / artist is before it comes out, I will give you $10. I personally, not Kris, he refuses, I will give you $10.
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
I don't owe you anything except my opinion on music.
I don't think anyone's going to get it. That's why. What else? $10.
But what would you do if they actually got it right?
I would give them $10. I am a woman of my word.
PayPal. Okay, everyone get guessing. Fill those comments. And the first person, I'm talking the first person that gets it, that doesn't already know who it is, like either me, you, or maybe someone we may have told, for example. Yep. Those don't count. Fresh people, get in there and guess. $10. Go.
I will PayPal you $10. But if the show has already come out by the time you've watched this, come on, you know the rules.
Yeah, too late by that point. Boo.
Exactly.
You are due by what, like April 3rd or 4th, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm looking at my calendar. We're way the hell behind. Anyways, That is the end of the show. Thank you very much for watching. So until you can guess the band that we're doing next week, go listen to some awesome music, and we will see you again real soon. So take care, friends.
Bye-bye.